What up? This is Slaine from the Coka Nostra, and right now you're rocking with Breaking Records Radio.
Hey yo, it's your boy Monster Man Rocco.
It's your boy Swagger Rock.
This is Snack the Ripper.
Hey, you rap for those who don't know.
This is Master Ace. You are now rocking with the best. Breaking Records Radio.
Breaking Records, man.
Breaking Records Radio.
Breaking Records Radio.
Breaking Records.
Breaking Records.
Breaking Records Radio. Let's go.
Breaking Records Radio.
Breaking Records Radio. Breaking Records, man. Radio is like the place to be. I don't fuck strange music, man.
Breaking Records Radio and the place to be. You know what it is. Your host Maloney, and I got a very special guest with me right now. I got the man Slaine.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you been doing, my man?
Not bad. Staying busy.
Yeah.
Just wrapping up this tour with the Coka Nostra in Canada. Album comes out 22nd.
Yeah.
So,
Got the one-day album on the way.
yes, sir.
Hey, that's dope, man. And so what actually, I got a chance to listen to the album today. James sent it along to me. Really liked the album.
Okay.
Really dope, man. One thing I noticed with it, I feel that you kind of, I don't want to say you went with a current sound for some of the album, but you definitely touched on some more, there's kind of some more new school kind of production on there than I'm used to hearing kind of from you.
I think I saw a couple comments about that. I mean, it wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of this record, it was recorded over years.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of different sounds on it and all that just from personal stuff. You go through different stuff over the course of years.
Yeah.
And, you know, some of it I wrote without beats.
Oh, really?
I came up with cadences in my head on my own, and then when I came into the studio with him, the producer built some of the production around that, and that I think is like with Redemption and the feeling I get, which is I think what you're talking about, which is some double time type of stuff. And he built soundscapes around it, which was a different approach. I usually always write to beats or make the beat with it in the studio. And that was like an interesting way to do it, too, because I felt like I was getting certain rhythms in my head and stuff like that. And I was just going with them. And then when he built it around it, it felt so perfect, the production around it. So.
Oh, that's really dope, actually. That's cool, too, that you actually, you had the ideas written down and stuff, went in there and built the beats kind of around what you had.
I even went in, like some of them I would have half a song written and I would spit it and then he would build the beat around it and then I would continue writing it to the beat once it came. You know, but it's always kind of an organic thing in the studio with me in production. I don't take outside beats. If producers want to solicit send me beats, I don't take them. You know,
yeah.
I only work with
people you actually know and are creatively building with.
I like to build it in the studio, in the moment, organically around what I'm writing. I like to be able to change it and change the progressions. I haven't really used samples in a while.
That's actually another thing I noticed on the album. It seemed there might have been a few joints that I was like, that kind of sounds like a sample in there. Like I think joint 2, you know, the drums before the extra drums hit and stuff like that. But for the most part, it did sound like it was a lot of original production on there.
Yeah, I mean, musically, like just growing through the years, I write like really personal and dramatic stuff and stories, and I always want that to be building. And I want to build up. Just different pieces. I don't want just like a 2 or a 4 loop sample, and then you're just stuck in the confines of that emotion for the whole time, and it just doesn't feel authentic to me at this stage of the game. The other side of it is, I've had difficulties clearing samples. It's just not worth it. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And from a business perspective, like songs get taken down, you get sued, and my first album got taken off the shelves because of it.
Oh, really, eh?
Yeah, World With No Sky is the first version of it. That's why I had to do a 2.0. So,
oh, wow, really?
11 days before it was supposed to come out, it got taken down. And then I had to remake the album with no samples, which was what the 2.0 version was. And it was heartbreaking because I really, I put a lot of time into making the original version of A World With No Skies, and I felt like it was my best work, up until now, I feel like this album is better than that. But but up until then, all the way up until now, I think that was my best album, the original version of A World With No Skies.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, when you have to go back and like rehash everything, and it's like
more than unfortunate. It's devastating, because like this isn't just some bullshit or some game or just something I do to make money. Like this is a very personal experience to me. All this, like whether people listen to my records or not, I would still make the music. I make the music purely out of my own coping mechanism
It's
to
therapy.
deal with my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I make it, and everything has its purpose and everything in its place, and it takes time, and it's a lot of thought, it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of energy. It's my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's more than just unfortunate when, you know, so I decided then, like, I'm never going to give anybody the power to take away my work again like that. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's also why I just work in the studio with a select few people. It's a very personal experience to me. I don't like to let outsiders in to my circle.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it.
Yeah. And so who did you work with, like for production wise on the album?
So
was it?
a guy named The Archetype? He produced the whole album except for one song.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and he also produced Slaine is Dead, and you know, he's kind of like the guy that I work with right now. I work with Static Select. I work with DJ Lethal.
Did Selecta do the beat that he's
no.
featured on there?
No,
or?
no,
Oh,
no.
okay.
He did the cuts.
Just the
on
cuts?
that.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And he's one of my really good friends too. And but you know, that's just like the number of people I work with. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't work with other producers. And I for me, it's like it's also such a, I mean, it's almost like a relationship. Like you know the ins and outs of the other person, and you know how to work the way that you want to work. It's not just like throw up a beat and that's it.
Oh, this is hot. Let's get it. Yeah.
I don't do it like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, so it's important for me. And then, like, you know, I've worked with Archetype for almost a decade now. So just like he knows what I want. He knows we can speak a language. You start to get a language with each other. Where it's, you know, I don't have to get. It's frustrating when you work with somebody and you're trying to tell them what you need and they don't get it.
Yeah,
you know?
no, 100%. It takes years to build those types of relationships.
Exactly.
Like even the same with your engineer as well, too,
and
right?
he plays all sorts of instruments too, and it's like that's an important piece of it. Like it's, you know, sampling and a beat maker and a producer are two different things.
Two completely different things. Yeah, you can't just go to a beat maker like I got this idea and have them build something around it.
Yeah,
like,
and it needs a progression right here. And then I want to, you know, put a piece like this here and a piece like that there, and then I want them to come together at this point, and you know, like it doesn't work with, you know, just a beat.
Yeah, exactly. And I noticed too. I like how you worked with just like with Archetype for the whole album, except for one joint, because it gives the album a cohesive sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of projects nowadays actually really lack. Is they kind of sound all over the place, right? Because you work with a lot of beat makers, you're trying to get all the hottest beats that you can, and it kind of becomes like almost like a collage of music. It's not like a specific, you know what I mean, like a vibe to it.
Well, I think there's definitely a lot of different sounds and a lot of different kinds of songs on this, but they all exist in the same world. And you know, every album I do has a different world that it's in, because my world is different at the time I make it. You know, you grow, you change, you adapt and evolve. I don't want to make the same record I made 10 years ago. That would show no growth.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Exactly. And that's one, I think that's neat too, how you went in like, you know, and had them build the specific stuff. And I think that is something that you need a long-lasting relationship with a producer for, right? It's like what Guru used to do with Premiere. Put a list of songs on the wall and be like, these are the songs, these are the orders. Now, you know, here's my lyrics. You got to make the beats to them. And it's like, unless you really know someone and they know you, your style, and kind of what you're looking for, you can't really convey that across properly.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. So why did you choose the title for the album, One Day?
Well, I mean, you know, it started off I started recording this album when I first got sober, and it was a lot of it, the original stuff. And there's 12 songs in this album. I probably recorded 40 over the time that I did it, and didn't put certain ones on, and a lot of ones on. And I mean, this year it kind of came together. A lot of the album got made this year, and it started to come more into focus. But you know, and what it was ended up changing, or what the concept of the album was changed in time, and it became what I started realizing was, you know, over the course of the time, like it wasn't ever about drugs and alcohol. It wasn't putting that shit down. It was about getting right with my past.
Yeah.
So dealing with the demons of my past and dealing with all that, like I did that through this album. So it was like, that's what the cover is too. It's like I played some of it to the photographer, and he was like, "Man, it's almost like you're trapped in the past and you're trying to escape it." And I was like, "Whoa," that kind of is it. And one day is the answer to the question that the album kind of poses, and it's like, you can never go back. Like you can only learn from the past, but all you ever have is this one day.
Yeah.
The one day that you have right now. So it's kind of the process in which I learned, and I'm not always perfect at it, but to try to get present.
Yeah.
And just, live in today.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like the artwork too. It really does kind of convey that, like your face, and then kind of has like an almost like it seems like a tortured you on the one side, and then like the other side is kind of like more like you've almost kind of came through it a little bit almost. It's like, but it really shows that contrast, and then with you in the middle.
Strength in the middle, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we tried to do. That was just one shot. It wasn't photoshopped. It's left the aperture open, and it was like a 10 or 11-second shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was all one. It's a real photo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love when people do that too. Like, there's so much art to actually, things like photography, videography, and stuff. And people rely so much on effects nowadays and post production. But it's like there's so much you can actually just do with the art of doing it. You know what I mean? It's like the original Star Wars is a masterpiece because of the way they made it. Right?
It's surrounding yourselves with people who are really good at what they do, who are also artists, which is why I'm very selective with who I use as a producer. I want my producer to be an artist.
Yeah.
And the photographer for the album cover, he's an amazing artist. The guy, his name is O.V. Stills. He's a great photographer. And everybody that I work with, I want to have that level of respect for.
Yeah.
Because I need to be able to put my project in their hands for that specific thing that they do. I don't make music. I don't play music.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't make beats. I don't play music. So I need to work with someone who has a good understanding of me in that area. I don't take photos except on my iPhone.
Yeah.
And I'm not a photographer as an artist. So I need somebody who understands my vision and can convey that. Like this guy was able to listen to my record and be like, this is what I want to do for the cover. And I need to be able to trust him and put it in his hands like that.
Yeah. And I like actually as well too how you mentioned that, how you played the album for the photographer, because that's something I do a lot for people. Like when I'm getting, a graphic designer to do artwork for a single or something, I always send them the song. And a lot of times, like I've dealt with ones before where you could tell they didn't even listen to the song and they just cook something up off the name or something, and it never turns out good. It's like, nah, man, it's like, take the fucking 2 minutes out, listen to the song.
Take it another level. You can be excellent at what you do, but not understand the artist, right? So it's like you can be a great photographer if you don't understand the artist and the work that you're doing the photography for. It's not going to connect.
Yeah, exactly.
You could be a great producer, but if you don't connect with the MC, it's not going to come out right. You need to understand where that person comes from, and I'm not talking about a physical place. I'm talking about where they're coming from, like emotionally, artistically, and just who they are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't understand that, then how is it ever going to work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like, being a hockey coach and putting 3 slow bruisers on your first line. It's like, nah, you need like one guy like that. Then you need somebody who's a sniper, and then you need somebody who can pass.
Exactly.
So you got to really have an understanding all the way around. Otherwise, you come up with bullshit work.
Yeah, 100%. And there's an art to it all too, like just knowing the right people to work with and stuff. And I'm sorry, what did you say the photographer's name was again?
O.V. Stills.
Have you worked with him in the past?
No, but the Archetype knew him, and he showed me some of his work, and we were going through different photographers and stuff like that. I mean, we really kind of weighed everything in the whole process, and yeah, I was like, this guy's brilliant. I want to meet him.
Yeah.
More than like, let's use
See
him.
if we connect kind of thing.
He came to the studio and we played him some of the record, and I love the idea he came up with, and that's the cover. So.
That's awesome. And I'm just guessing with the creative process that you take and everything else, you must have to do a lot of filtering kind of down as well too when you work with video directors.
Yeah, and that's always a challenging one because I'm so used to working. I work with films I've done like a dozen films as an actor now, and I've worked with some really brilliant people. And, with my budget is as an indie hip hop artist doesn't allow me to go out and get brilliant people from the film world, and that's not a knock on anyone I've shot videos with. But yeah, it's also the same thing. You gotta and you know, we had a couple pitches for video ideas from people who were talented who didn't get who I was, and the stuff that they submitted really didn't connect with who I was as an artist and stuff like that. So I actually just shot this video that I'm dropping for the Feeling I Get.
Okay.
With a dude named Anthony LaRose from Edmonton.
Yeah.
And he's great, and he understands me. I know him. I met him through Mad Child about 7 years ago.
Oh yeah, shout out Mad Child.
Yeah, shout out to Mad Child, and we have a friendship, and I really respect what he does. He's an artist, you know, but he also gets my work, and he gets who I am, and I understand him and his work, and you know, I'm gonna be doing some more work with him too for sure. Just talked to him last night about doing another video for this record. So, but you know, videos are challenging because. You know, you really work in this day and age of music where you're not shipping 500,000 CDs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's ultimately a streaming business now.
Yeah.
And you know, you don't have these huge budgets. It just doesn't pay. Like the video isn't gonna make you.
No.
You can't spend $50,000 to shoot a video, which I would love to do to really get a true artistic vision of what I would love to do, but. You know,
it's not realistic.
You gotta also work in the real world with real world budgets and all that, and do the best you can with that stuff. So
yeah. And speaking of Mad Child, actually too, is there any? Are you guys gonna do the Supreme Villains thing still?
Yeah, I mean that was a while ago, and it didn't come to fruition. Not because we're not homies, and I respect Mad Child as an artist, and he's a great dude, and he's a friend of mine. But just on a business tip, like there was a merger of different label stuff and management. Situation, and you know, we just didn't end up making the record.
Yeah.
So,
any chance it might still happen, or it all depends?
Know,
you know,
I mean,
you guys get busy.
I think he's pushing in one direction. I'm moving in another, and like I said, I mean, I'm sure we'll probably do songs together. He was on the Anti-Hero record.
Yep.
You know, I love working with Mad, but I don't know that there's gonna be an album.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, you know, because. You know, that would have been dope, but it's one of those things.
we put out mad music together anyways.
Yeah.
During that time, he was on my records, I was on his records, and you know, we toured together, and I love Mad Child.
That was a dope tour too, the Supreme Villains tour.
Yeah, well, we toured with Swollen and me, and then we toured. I toured with him on his Lawnmower Man album.
Yeah,
in Canada.
I seen the one that you guys and Swollen. That's where I seen you guys.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that was a dope. That was
yeah,
a dope
I love
show.
those guys too. Those are all great dudes.
Yeah, man.
Shout
Mad
out
Child's
to Rob and Prev too.
Yeah. Mad Child's actually in Toronto, I believe. I think later this month. I think.
Yeah, I saw that he's touring.
Yeah, coming back around here. Shout out to Mad Child. Hopefully, I'll get to sit down with him again when he's back down here too. He's you know, he's always fun to talk to too, man. He's been in this game a long time. A lot of insight.
Yeah, great MC, colorful character.
Yeah, very colorful character. And so to go back to the album as well too, though, you got some really dope features on the album. One thing I wanted to ask about, the songs Can't Stay the Same.
Mm-hmm.
Is that song I took it as that song is kind of about becoming sober.
No, I think that song is more about changing as you go through these experiences, and you go through a lot of difficulties, and shit beats you down and fucks you up, and you come out the other side of it. You can't stay the same. The same things that I used, the same mentality that I had as a kid that allowed me to survive what I had to survive in an early adulthood, to survive what I had to survive. Some of those things ended up not working as I got older.
Yeah.
And I had to change the way that I am because my values are different.
Yeah.
You know, what I want out of life and what I value is much different than kind of the broken model that I had when I was younger, where it was just like, get what you gotta get by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? And like, if anybody tries to fuck with me, you know what I'm saying? And that just doesn't work. Like, I have different values now, and you know, I'm a father. And I try to be a good dude and a good friend. And, you know, I've struggled with, like, wrath and pride and like making people pay for shit that they do to me and all that, and it just doesn't work for me anymore. So, you know, that stuff is like, it's partly about getting sober, but like I said, getting sober to me has nothing to do with the drugs or the alcohol. Like I thought it did in the beginning, but what I realized is I had to change the person I was. So that's what that's about. It's more about, you know, becoming a man. I guess.
I think that's a huge misconception people make too, is that getting clean is just about the drugs or the alcohol, the substance itself. But really, it's the substances are a coping mechanism for one thing or another or whatever it may be, right?
Well, it's a lack of coping mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fake coping mechanism.
It's a symptom. Yeah. It's a magic bean just to make all the problems go away, but they don't. They get worse. And like I said, you got to change the person you are, and that's why you see a lot of people get sober for a year, sober, like not drinking and doing drugs, but they ultimately go back because they don't change
themselves.
The broken shit that they need to change, and ultimately life becomes too much, and you need something to stop making you feel that way.
Yeah.
And booze and drugs work great for about 6 hours.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and you start the cycle again, and you spiral deeper down the drain. And I mean, we all know the story. We see it over and over again. But yeah, man. So I mean, I think that song is just about changing.
Yeah.
And growing up.
And how long have you been sober for now?
5 years
Holy shit.
and 8 months.
Holy shit,
So
man.
coming out of 6 years on March 3rd.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a huge feat. That's a huge feat.
It's always just one day, bro.
Yeah, that is, right? It's one day at a time. Which another perfect reference to the album title as well. And one thing I have seen a lot of growth in you myself, like just as a fan on the outside looking in. Like I remember, I think the first joint I ever heard of yours was "Clacks on the Tracks," which phenomenal song, by the way.
Thank you, man.
I love that song, man. I can't even remember what project that's off, but that's
It's on the
old.
White Man is the Devil Volume 2,
Yeah.
2006, almost 15 years ago. I
Yeah.
made that song. Yeah.
Who produced that one?
This kid named Germs that I used to work with a lot, and in the early days out in the studio in Worcester that I used to work in with Special Teams, and he produced a few of the tracks on that. But
Yeah.
I worked with him a lot.
Yeah, and like since those days, man, like you're an aggressive dude. Like you reminded me of like not so much, more just like personality wise, kind of remind me of like an old school Everlast, like someone I didn't want to get caught in the bar at 2 a.m. with. If they had a little too much to drink, I might get my head knocked off type. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of growth in you. You know, over the years, though, you know, like to the man you are now, like humble, cool, chill, you know.
Hey, man, it's adapt or die, really.
Yeah. And so you got some people on the album as well, too, you know, like Paz, Bill, you know, family, guys you're always working with and stuff. And then you got Locksmith on the album. Was that the first time you had worked with Lock?
Yeah, first time I worked with Locksmith. I'd always kind of really respected what he's done from afar. As a wordsmith, he's just, you know, and I consider myself on that level, too. I think there's not a lot of people who can do what we do with words. And I think the game has moved away from that because it's difficult to do.
Yep.
And it's easier to sell gimmicks and image and shock value and all that, but the true artistry of this shit is that.
Yeah.
Is storytelling, wordplay, projection, you know, and substance. So those are the things that I really pride myself on bringing. And I actually recorded that song "Broken Toys." It was before it was called "Broken Toys." It was the verse that I laid, and I kept trying to top the verse for another second verse, and I was like, man, it's tough to it's tough to top the first verse that I did, like to really. And I was like, maybe I should send this to Apathy.
Yeah,
because I know he could do it, and you know, because I really liked my first verse on that, so then I sent it to App, and he came with what he came with, and I was like, oh. And Locksmith popped into my head. I was like, Locksmith could add to this too and still be in that world and still hold that weight, and I think we all kill it on that song too. And the hook came last.
Oh, really?
So we kind of had a concept, which is exactly what I'm talking about, is the you know, just the kind of the craft falling by the wayside and the bullshit coming to the surface, and you know, the kind of the proliferation of social media, and you know, the filtered faces, and the fucking just all the madness and the nonsense that kind of has kind of overrun not just hip hop but like kind of the world, right? So it's like I go on social media and I just see all these broken toys. Yeah. And kind of what the song is about is you know, living in this world of broken toys, and then kind of realizing maybe you are one too. So yeah, so that's the song, and got an animated video that we're gonna be dropping.
Oh yeah,
too. Yeah.
Okay,
so.
dope. That's real dope. Who did the animated video?
You know what? I shouldn't even be talking about it right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hold it back.
Okay. We'll wait.
Yeah.
We'll wait till you guys are putting that out properly. That's dope, man. And one thing, one thing I really liked about that is a lot of times, you know, songs with features, especially with MCs, you know what I mean? Like dudes who can really rap, like you were saying, is everyone's kind of coming for their A game, and so they come as them. But what I liked is like Apathy kind of used like the same kind of pocket you used, and then Locksmith kind of used that pocket. So all you guys kind of like, it's like you're doing like, it's like your A games, but you're all like kind of in that same realm pocket of like flow and kind of stuff too. You know what I mean? Like I've never really heard Apathy flow the way he flowed on that song. Yeah. And then Locksmith, like it all fit in the pocket perfectly. Was that something like when you send it out, you're like, I kind of want you to follow?
Well, I knew those guys could. So it's you know, it's always a bit of a competition when you're on tracks with other dudes who can really do it. Right? Yeah. And you want to bring your A game, and they want to bring their A game, and but I want that. Look, you know, to me, it's like, if I don't care, you know, the competition isn't an unhealthy one. It's like I want to bring my A game at what I do, because nobody can do what I do the way I do it. And same with those guys. Nobody can do what Apathy does the way that Apathy does it. No one can do what Lock does the way that he does it. And we all do our own thing, and it's all at such a high level that ultimately, you know, some people are going to be like, oh, Lock had the best verse, and some people, Apathy had the best verse, Slaine had the best verse, and you want it to be like that. That's creates a dialogue, and that creates interest, and that makes the track good, you know. So, you know, I want everything I'm involved with to be dope. Yeah. And, those guys definitely brought it. I like that song a lot.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorites on the album, I'd say. I really liked, what was the one, too? Trick the Trap. Yeah, with Static Selector, I really like that joint a lot too.
Yeah, man.
And
that's one I was talking about shooting another video for, because that just has a video feel to me for that song.
Yeah,
I like that song a lot too, and that's more like old school boom bap.
Yeah,
you know, so it's like, you know, but it still lives in the same world as Redemption, which some people have been saying like, oh, it's new school, or it's like mumble rap. Something. It's like, nah.
No, not at all.
Nah.
But it has a little bit of a current vibe to it, and it's more so like the beat's still like, you know, whether it's a sample or whether it's original, but like the vocals on it and stuff. You know what I mean? Like the kind of opera-y kind of eerie kind of vocals and stuff. Like that's still the same pocket, you know what I mean? Like that suits you and stuff. It's just the 808s. You know, that's the only thing that sounds kind of current, you know, like the snare, the bass kick, and the
you know,
bass.
I think like current isn't bad. Like
no.
You're supposed to grow and evolve. And
exactly.
You know, and trust me when I tell you, like I haven't listened to too much of like what else is going on out there, like at any length. So it's not like it's influenced by it where I'm like, all right, well, let's try to do something like this. You know, I think it fits. I mean, honestly, you could probably put that song on A World With No Skies and not notice.
Yeah.
Know, like it being much different as far as that, because the darkness and the anger and the energy is there, and the passion is there. So.
Yeah, and everything still flows together perfectly. Like you got really boom bappy joints like that, but even with the joints, they like everything. It was very cohesive still, and it makes sense.
I
if
think some
Archetype
people
did
want
it all.
you to do like the kind of 1997 boom bap, which I think that Trick the Trap is that. It lives in that world for sure. But I mean, I don't want to do a whole album where every song sounds the same, man.
Exactly.
And I don't want to, you know, I'm always trying to grow and try different things and different cadences and different, you know, you want to keep shit fresh, man. And like I said, it has to match the way that you're feeling and what you're going through in your life. And you know, could be different on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So.
And you do have a lot of different cadences on the album too. That's another thing I wanted to commend you on. Is like I don't think you flow really the same on any song on there. Like every song has its own identity very much so.
Yeah, intentionally, and there was some songs that were too similar to other ones and they didn't make the album.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some songs that were too personal that I didn't put on there. But I had to write them and I had to make them for my own kind of sanity. And I was like, you know what, I'm not going to put this on there because I don't want to hurt anyone else.
Yeah.
Like I didn't come this far to hurt other people. I've had some experience with that in the past where like I airing out my own demons and end up like hitting people with stray bullets, and that's not something I'm interested in doing. Although I still do got to write it and record it and get it out.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I have to put it out for public consumption either.
No,
So-
yeah, that's true. And do you think there's ever a point where maybe some of these songs that didn't make albums that are too personal, you come to a point where you're okay with letting them out?
You never know, but I mean, if I thought it wouldn't hurt somebody and I felt like, but it, it might not be current at that point in time. Like, for me, what current means, rather than like production style or anything like that, is current with where I'm at right now. So, I think it was like a difficulty like a couple years into my sobriety where I was doing all my old songs. I was like, how am I going to perform Cocaine and Whiskey? I'm like 2 years sober. It doesn't feel authentic, and
Yeah.
I don't like doing it anymore. So I don't do that song anymore because it's not current.
Yeah.
It's not where I'm at. And I'll always do 99 bottles. I kind of preface it.
You kind of
before-
got, yeah.
Before I do it. And I kind of talk about it before I do it usually now. But, and those songs are all still a part of me and who I am and what I was and all that. But, it feels good to have new music that still has an edge to it. It's
Yeah.
still aggressive. And it's more where I'm at right now. So, I don't know where I'm going next. So we'll see what's current next. And, if I felt like there's definitely songs that didn't make this record that aren't for that reason too, but that can exist on another record. And I'm definitely going to be more consistent putting music out over the next year or two. I'm going to go hard right now because I'm really inspired right now.
Yeah.
I took a year off last year for the first time in my career musically. And when I say took a year off, I mean I just wasn't going in on a weekly basis, like 3 or 4 days a week. But, I probably went in the studio a dozen times in a year, which is a year off for me. And I studied acting, and I wrote a screenplay. And
Oh, really?
I kind of just evaluated where I wanted to go with my life because I didn't feel that that deep burning desire to do music for a little while. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to put it down and see what happens. And then at the beginning of this year, I went through some difficult stuff, and I needed to write again, and I needed to make music, and that's how this album kind of ended up getting finished.
I think that's important too, is to know sometimes when you do need to take a step back. I think some artists try to push through not being inspired, you know what I mean, and like try to force a spark sometimes. And I think it's really important when you realize you're like, you know what, I think for myself I need to take a step back for a bit and let the inspiration come back to me and stop searching for it.
Yeah, man, because the songs write themselves. You
Yeah.
know, at the end of the day, like, is it difficult? Do I work really hard at writing? Yes, but ultimately the songs write themselves.
Yeah.
Like the best shit writes itself.
Do you find sometimes like the fans' favorite songs of yours are the ones that you're kind of like, I'm not huge on this song, or the ones where you're like, I wasn't even trying?
I don't know. It's hard to say that. I usually at this stage of my career, I only put out stuff that I love.
Yeah.
And I learned that a long time ago. I think there were a couple songs on the early mixtapes on White Man is the Devil Volume 1 and Volume 2 that, then they had a lot of songs on both of those, but, that I would put on there and because somebody was like, dude, you got to put that on that. Somebody I was working with at the time, and I was like, I don't really like that one. And I'd be like, all right. And then I put it on there, and then that would be the song that was like, this song sucks, or like the song that got panned in a review, and then it would bother me. So I was like, if I only put shit out that I love,
You no one
then
to blame but yourself.
I'm unaffected by any review or any opinion, because if you don't like something that I love, it'll be like if you told me like Goodfellas sucks as a movie, I'd be like, all right, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's ridiculous. Right?
Yeah.
So that's how I need to feel about every song that I put out, so I can be unaffected by criticism.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if I put out a song that I'm not sure about, that I don't like, that I don't feel is a good representation of where I'm at, and I didn't do what I'm trying to do because someone else says it's great, you got to put it on there. Then I am affected by the criticism to it because I hate it too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then I'm like, fuck, why did I put something I hate on my work? Why
And
would
once
I
it's
ever
out-
do that? What would possess me to fucking do that?
Yeah.
So that was something I learned early in my career, and
And once it's out, you can't take it back.
never. And that's not to say that I have put out stuff that I wish I could take back that I liked and believed at the time, but now I wish I didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And because I've changed a lot from that person. I think I talk about that a little on this album too,
Yeah.
in the One More Day song.
And I'm curious as well too, with like kind of coming to this spot as an artist now, where it's like you have to feel it 100%. Fuck what anyone else has to say, kind of thing. How does that work in the group dynamic? Like when you're working with like La Coka, or if you're like doing anti-heroes and stuff. Does it ever?
It's the same thing. Like, so if we're not all 100% on board with something,
then even if it's
Yeah.
a 2-1 or something kind of thing, it's like
yeah,
nah.
I mean, it doesn't really get to be like that. It's like if I really don't like something, then like with La Coka, for instance, if Bill is really fucking with something that I'm not, then he can use it for
his own shit. Yeah, that's true.
And
right?
same with me. And there, Bill and I, when we write songs together, we have a sweet spot that we hit where we're both vibing with the same stuff, but we're both very different solo wise.
Yeah.
I know I definitely do some things solo that probably isn't like Bill's taste, but that's the place to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just the way it goes with any collaboration. You know what I mean? I'm sure maybe the archetype likes to do slow jazz or R&B records that he can't do with me. And
Yeah.
he wants to do those with a different artist, and that's great. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the way that we work, man.
Yeah.
That's just the way artists work in general. It's like we have the things that we want to do and the vision we want to put out, and
Yeah.
everybody get different sides to them too.
And speaking of La Coka, actually, I do want to get back to the album as well, but I'm just curious. Are you guys working on anything else
I mean,
at the
we
moment?
we're touring together right now, so we've been bouncing some ideas and stuff like that, and that's just the way it goes. It's organic. It's like we've been together for so long. We're friends before anything else.
Yeah.
And we kind of built like a legacy with what we got. It's not like we have to, we're not working on the new model where it's like, dude, we got to put a freestyle up, but we got to put something out. It's like,
When the time's right.
when we got the proper inspiration for the right project, then we do it.
Yeah.
We're veterans, man. Like, we ain't kids, and we don't need to rush shit out factory style or anything like that. If we can't stand behind it, and
You
then
got to
we don't
keep it a
wanna
brand
do
that
it.
people can trust.
Yeah, it's got to be a brand you can trust.
Yeah, 100%. And so you guys have been touring. You guys did the States, right, already?
No, we just
Or you started in Canada?
We just did a Canadian run, and this was booked prior to when I knew that I had the album coming out on the 22nd.
Oh,
But,
really?
Yeah, it just ended up
working out
out like that, and and then I'm going home in a few days, and I got my Boston solo album release party solo, and I'm gonna perform the album front to back with a live band. Archetype has a band called Still Gold. They're really dope. If you guys haven't heard them, check them out.
Oh, dope.
And they're like a roots style hip hop band, and they're gonna play the album while I perform it. So,
Oh, that's really dope,
yeah,
man.
it's dope. And Apathy and Rex are both on that show too. So,
Rex?
Yeah, Rex.
Oh, shit.
Rex, one of the great MCs, man. Really slept on too.
Yeah, he is.
And he's one of the greatest from my state, from Massachusetts. Definitely one of the greatest.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's great. Yo, Rex. I haven't heard something from Rex in a minute, actually. Rex is super slept on.
He's got some new stuff dropping soon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what about Ed OG? Any Slaine and Ed OG work?
I don't
stuff
know that
coming
we're
in the
gonna
works?
do another Special Teams record. We'll see. It's been a long time
Yeah.
between those projects, but again, it's like people move in their own different directions, and time goes by, and there always has to be a demand for stuff, and like I said, we work in the real world too, the business world, where it's like, you need all the pieces to kind of come together with timing and people's careers.
Yeah.
And personalities and all that stuff to push forward with a new project. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I haven't talked to those guys about that.
That'd be dope, man. I love honestly. Special teams is like that shit was way too slept on for me. Like people, you, Jason, and Edo, man.
Yeah. That record came out on Duck Down.
Yeah, it was Duck Down too. Yep.
Sean Price kind of plugged us in over there. Rest in peace to Sean P.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He was kind of the one who helped you guys solidify.
Yeah,
that.
we did a little tour actually in Canada. We did a little tour with Special Teams and Sean P. And after the tour, he was like, "Yo, you guys gotta bring your record over to Duck Down." And Sean was such a funny dude, man. He was a great guy.
Do you got speaking of that, actually, one thing I like to ask artists who were close to Sean, what if you could think of any, what would like your favorite or not favorite, your funniest Sean Price memory be?
Oh man. I mean, it's from that tour. I don't know that it's it's necessarily a funny moment. It was just bizarre. Like we had a show in Hamilton, Ontario, and some kid at the show was really wilding out. He was like, he must have smoked angel dust or something like that, and he was like being really fucked up.
Was that the show someone got stabbed at?
Yeah, and he got stabbed in front of the show, and that was just crazy. But I mean, the whole sequence of events, like with the detectives coming to the hotel the next day, and like we were in the worst fucking motel that I've stayed in my entire career. I slept in the van, man. Like,
Really?
It was bad. It was bad. There was like blood stains on the wall. The fucking water was like dirty. I mean, shout out to Hamilton. And then I think that murder actually ended up being solved on YouTube, on a YouTube video, something weird like that, man.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird, and it was bizarre. It was strange. It was a strange night.
That ever make you?
I've never thought of Hamilton, Ontario the same way after that. It was really fucked up.
I was actually gonna ask, has that ever played into a factor when booking a tour again? It's like, well, if we're doing Hamilton, make sure that they're putting us in a decent hotel.
I've never played Hamilton again.
No,
so.
you're just like, fuck that.
Nah, I mean, not by my own choice, but I think like the universe is just like, all right, we've had it over there. We don't go back
we'll
there.
keep you away from
But
here.
I know that we got definitely some supporters in Hamilton, so no disrespect to Hamilton.
Well, at least you hit up Toronto and you hit Brantford, so you hit, Hamilton sits right in the middle, so people could either come
you
see
get
you
in the
on
car
either
and
side of it.
come to us.
Yeah, it's not that difficult. It's like a little light 30-minute drive, right? That's crazy, man. Yeah, the original Special Teams, I love that album. Like Main Event with Premiere. Was that for that was
that was the first time I worked with Primo. I stood in line to get my copy of Moment of Truth signed in Boston at Tower Records. And it was a long line, and it was in the rain. I stood out in the rain. I was wearing a leather jacket in the rain. It rained on me for 3 hours. And when I got to the front of the line, I told Primo, like, I'm going to work with you someday, man. To Guru, too. And to Big Shug. Shout out to all those guys, and rest in peace to Guru. But, so then when we got to the studio that day, that was 7, maybe 6 years later, and we went up into the old D&D, which is now headquarters, which Primo bought. He bought the old D&D because he loved that studio so much, and I told him that story, and he was like, "Well, you here now? What the fuck you gonna do with it?" So yeah, but we that was a dope album, man. It's a good memory, that era back then.
That's an underground classic, man. One Call, Big Top. That was on Revolution's thing, right?
Yeah, Big Top was on Revolution.
Yeah.
And we shot a video for that too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was actually my first, the first release that I was on that came out on a label. Up until then, I was, kind of hustling mixtapes and all that. And Special Teams, Stereotypes came out the same week that Gone Baby Gone hit theaters.
Oh shit, eh?
Yeah, and that was also, I think it was my 30th birthday later that week. So.
Just kind of hit the ground running from that point
I don't
forward.
know, when you're 30 and it's your first release, if you hit the ground running. It took me a long time to get to that spot.
Point.
Yeah, I've been grinding since I was 18 at this. So
Hey, you know what though? That's inspirational, man. I just turned 30 earlier this year, and it's one of those ages you get to where you're like, shit. You're like, I kind of expected to be further than I am now.
Yeah, but
you know
that's
what I mean?
That's what I always tell people when they turn 30. I'm 42 now, man, and first of all, I never thought that I would be making my best album of my career when I was 42. I figured when I was 42 I'd be doing something different, And so it's great that I'm super grateful to have a career and to be able to keep putting out music. You know, because the landscape has changed too. I mean, hip hop fans have grown up, and people still listen to hip hop, and they want something more. You know, like I don't know that the stuff that I'm talking about on this record is going to resonate with 16-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Who want some bang bang wild out shit, you know what I'm saying? And we've done that. So it's like you come to a place where you grow into something different, like with Can't Stay the Same, and it's like this is what I'm going through right now. It's life, and it's a different take on life than you have when you're 16 or 22 or 25 or 30.
Yeah.
And but there's still a fan base to support that. I know I want to hear shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, as great as I think some of these younger artists are, I don't listen to them when I drive around because they're talking about 19-year-old shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, dope MC, can spit. It's just
it's not resonating with
it's
me.
not what it's not stuff that has like an incredible meaning to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's stuff like that's like the problems we already solved 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I went off on a tangent. What were we talking about with
Oh shit, where did we start on that?
So turning 30. I always tell
yeah.
people, you turn 30, that's the beginning. Your 20s are fucked up, man. You don't know how to make your way in the world. You're still running on all those broken kind of broken ideas that you grew up with. And, you know, and I think like 30 after I turned 30, like stuff started making more sense to me. You have a network that you've built. You have some experience and knowledge in an area. You know how to kind of make your way. You start earning much better money after 30 in my experience. And and you start to think about family shit and starting a family. And, you know, I became a father when I was 31, and that changed me. And
my girlfriend's 3 months pregnant right now, so
congratulations,
first kid
man.
on the way.
And
So.
it changed you in the best possible way. And like 30 is still a young man, and it's like you know, it's really, you have the worst stuff behind you and the best stuff in front of you, I think. And I never would have thought that I would think of 40 that way too, but I do. Like I'm in a good spot. You know what I'm saying? And I still feel youthful. I feel like sharper than I ever felt, and I'm sure that's because of the sobriety too. But it's you know, physically I'm stronger. I'm just more on point, and I can kind of navigate really difficult situations a lot easier than I used to.
Yeah. And that's one thing I always say too, man, is age is nothing but a mind state. You know what I mean? If you feel like you're old, then you're going to be fucking old.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference between being old, run down, fucking jaded, and bitter.
Yeah.
And being, you know, experienced, focused, sharp, on point, present for the people that need you and the people that love you and the people that you love. And, you know, being engaged in life, man. I mean, you know, I think that I have respect for my elders now more than ever. It's like, wow. Life throws a lot of crazy shit at you. So, you know, when you see people who's 60, 70 years old, like they've been through some shit, man. And they navigated it, and they're still alive. They're here. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's how I feel right now. It's like, man, I survived some fucked up shit, and I'm still here. And not only am I still here, but I'm thriving.
Yeah.
And I'm better than I was before.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's important. And actually just kind of, you know, this isn't something I had prepared, but just kind of curious, just kind of with the conversation we were having, you know, working close with somebody like Everlast, you know what I mean? For one, like in hip-hop, there's not many Irish people like us in hip-hop historically, you know what I mean, to look up to and stuff. So I'm just curious, like, you know, working with Everlast and stuff, is there any like real jewels or like just ways of like looking at things or things about the industry you learned from him, kind of, you know, just working by him, being like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like
100%. I mean, look, man, you know, because a lot of younger artists will be like, man, how do you know so much shit about the business, about the game, about this or that? And it's like, I learned from all these guys when I've first started working with any of these guys, not just Everlast, with Danny, with Bill, with Lethal, with Ed and Jay even, and you know, I learned by watching.
Yeah.
You know, it's not even something that has to be told. It's something that has to be observed and put into action. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And it's an attitude and a mentality that must be adopted in order to move wisely and with strength, you know. And obviously different people have different strengths and weaknesses, and I've always tried to kind of be like, I like that about what he does, as far as not style wise musically. I'm saying just about how you see certain people move and the way
Maneuver
things are
through
done
the-
and all that, and you see kind of a good way to do things in different areas. And I've been lucky enough, you know, not just in music, neither, just you know, in life, to really be around, like, you know, some really official, respectable people, whether it's in the film world or the music world or just in life. You know what I'm saying? Just in life in general. And you know, I've tried to learn from that stuff, and some of it is based on getting burned myself in certain areas. I'm making stupid mistakes, and some of it was just because I observed it and I didn't have to make the mistake because maybe someone else did who was close to me.
Yeah.
Although not usually. Usually I have to make the mistake.
Learning firsthand usually works
Yeah,
best.
I learned the hard way pretty often, man. So
Yeah, man. That's great. Like,
yeah,
you
but
know,
Everlast clearly, and Danny and Lethal and Bill too, and all those guys. Like, I really looked up to them and admired them before I knew them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I had House of Pain posters on my wall growing up, and the first hip hop show I ever went to was Cypress Hill and House of Pain. So
oh, really?
it's surreal to me, like, especially in the beginning. Now it's like
That's just family now, yeah.
That's those are my guys. But especially in the beginning, it was like,
Whoa.
this can't be real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these guys were the guys. Cypress Hill posters on my wall, House of Pain posters on my wall, and you know, it's crazy though. I believe a lot in the universe. What you put into the universe enough,
Yep.
comes back to you.
Yeah.
And that's what this song, "The Feeling I Get," is about, but in the negative way.
Yeah.
'Cause I've also put some not so great things into the universe, and they've come back
Yeah.
too. So the universe gives you everything you want, man.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you put that, if you put certain negativity or fear out there, even subconsciously on a regular basis, that's going
It comes back to you. Yeah, you got to be careful. You got to be careful what you put out there.
I mean, we're part of something that's very powerful here, man. That I think, like, some people get very lost in the day-to-day mundane bullshit, or that life is money and this and
Broken toys.
Yeah, it's like this whole broken toy mentality. It's like, yo, we are in this fucking vast, incredible design of a universe, and we're just a speck of fucking dust. But there's meaning and layers and energy and all this
All
shit.
energy.
It's all, I mean, it's mind-blowing, man, as like you start to go down that rabbit hole a little bit, and that's a good rabbit hole to go down because it's reality
Yeah.
and spirituality, and man.
It really helps put you in perspective when you start to really look at the universe and just like how minuscule you are too. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa.
But how minuscule you are. Here's the thing, because everything is like this in the universe, where it's like everything is everything, nothing is nothing, nothing is everything, and everything is nothing, right? So it's like we're a speck of dust, but the universe couldn't exist
without that speck of dust.
without you, without me.
Yeah.
Like, we're all integral pieces of the whole grand design. The grand design can't exist without us too.
Yeah.
So it's like, no matter how little or how, it's just and it's all part of the greatest story ever told, man.
Yeah. Hey, word up, man. Shit, man. Well put. Well put. You know, there's a couple other things I do want to touch on quick. I mean, we're nearing up. I know you got show to do and stuff. I don't want to keep you here all night. So quickly, I did just want to breeze on, though. Like, one thing, when you did the anti-heroes with terminology, I was going to ask how that came about, but you saying earlier, like, you know, Static's your dude. I'm guessing that was kind of a middle
partly,
part.
No, but I mean, me and Term came up in the Boston hip-hop scene around
Together.
the same time. Well, not together. We were kind of adversarial for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he thought, like, he's better than me or something. No. No, we had like a competition, man. We, you know, like, I think like certain people championed me, certain people championed him. We both were kind of trying to make our bones at the same time. And, And you know, I wanted to be the best, and he wanted to be the best, and we also kind of just butted heads. But then over the years, like we kind of the same thing that kind of drove us apart brought us together because we related to each other in a way that nobody else could in certain aspects of things. And you know, whether it's like hate locally or like, you know, we were just we built on a lot of different levels, and then we started doing some songs together, and then we decided to do an album together, and that was over the course of 15 fucking years. You know what I'm saying? So I have a lot of respect for Term, a lot of love for Term. That's my brother, and yeah, and I think we made a great album too.
Yeah, no, I love the album, and I think so that's actually cool that you broke down like that, because I never realized, like, you know, the underground like politics of what might have been going on in Boston between you guys. But so that album is kind of almost like a landmark like moment for like Boston hip hop in a sense. It's like, you know, two kind of separate camps that, you know, at one point maybe didn't see eye to eye necessarily. It's like come together and make something great. Mm-hmm. That's dope.
Yeah, and by the time we did that, I mean, it would have been one thing if, you know, we did that. We were already friends for years when we did that, but it wasn't like it was like at the height of us not liking each other. But like I had liked Term for a long time. But that record came out in 2017. We were cool in 2010.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I'm talking about more like 05, 06.
Yeah.
04, 05, 06. Like this is going
like
back.
Around like Watch How It Go Down and Special
even
Teams.
Even before that.
Yeah.
I think we started squashing things around Watch How It Go Down. But,
okay.
Yeah, because we were Special Teams and they were ST.
Yep.
And there was like some weirdness around that, and you know, whatever. But
yeah.
It's ancient history now.
All little shit in the past. And I loved how you guys brought Everlast out for the Anti-Hero
cool,
joint with Premier.
Cool.
Was that the first time Everlast ever worked with Premier?
On a Primo beat, yeah.
Shit, you guys facilitated that. That's crazy.
And that song is dope, man. That's a dope record.
I love that. That's actually, you know, I love the new Gangstar record. I love Prime too, but like, you know, and like Premier's my favorite producer all the time, right? So I'm always staying, you know, paying attention to what he's doing. But that record you guys did with him is my favorite beat he's done in probably the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, it's
like
a dope beat.
Easy like that.
It's funny. A lot of people say that about Mind Your Business too. So.
Oh, and shout outs to Tom and Real Wolf as well too, because they did that video for you guys, didn't they?
Oh, for Mind Your Business, yeah. And that video popped, man. That video got a lot of views.
That shit's crazy. Oh man, I love that joint. That's one I could, like, you know, like I could punch someone in the face too, if I get mad. You know what I mean? It's like that. All right, yeah, put that on Mind Your Business.
That's a great Primo beat, man.
Yeah, man.
I mean, Primo's probably my favorite producer too. So.
Yeah. That's dope.
I'm blessed to have been able to do 3 joints with him, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, that's huge, man.
He was another one on my wall. Gangstar was on my wall too. So that's what I'm saying. Like, put all that shit into the universe. It's crazy. Harvey Keitel was on my wall. You know. Like, I did a movie with him. So it's like, when I think back, it's like, God damn, like all these people on my wall. Like I work with all of them. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, eh? And it's like It's like, yeah, I guess it's like kind of like what you say. Like at the beginning, it's insane, and now it's like it's probably so normal now, right? Do you ever look back?
I don't know that it's normal. I still am grateful for it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, I don't ever want to get to a place where I just take it for granted, like that I get to work with really talented people. But I think like at some point, like I had to come to the realization that I'm one of those people too, and that I deserve to be there, and I bring my own brand of what I do to the equation, and that's why people want to work with me. You know what I mean? And that's like self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? And that's like also part of growing up and abandoning kind of these broken toy ideas.
Yeah.
You know?
Word up, man. And before we do wrap it up, too, I actually wanted to ask, and it kind of fits in pocket with, just talking about what we just were with Harvey Keitel and stuff, but can we expect to see you on the screen again? This was actually a fan question as well, too, so it tied in. But
yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I took, I came to a point where I was like, it was 2 years ago where I was like, you know what? Like, I want to be able to branch out and do different kind of roles. It's difficult because they see you a certain way and they just want you to play that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I like playing criminals and stuff like that, but I want to be able to branch out and do a lot of different stuff. So, and what I realized was I had put so much work into music over these years, since I was 9 years old, you know, so over 30 years I put into that, and acting was something I fell into. Ben Affleck saw me in the newspaper, brought me in, put me in Gone Baby Gone, then in The Town, and I never studied the craft, and I never worked on the craft.
Well, actually, you saying that's another fan question. Sorry not to cut you off, but it just ties into you saying that exactly. Someone actually asked, they said, when you did, was it Gone Baby Gone or The Town? But they asked, were you actually acting in that movie or just being yourself?
A lot of people say that. No, I was acting in it. But I mean, I was able to draw. It was something I was very comfortable acting in because, one, like I could use my accent.
Yeah.
And it was the world that I grew up in. So, I mean, it's easier to do that.
Yeah.
It was like a great introduction to acting because I was comfortable and I knew the world really well, which is what you have to do with every role. You have to know the world.
Yeah.
And that one, I had already done the research for 30 years. So, you know, but I think I really needed time to like really dig deeper into that side of artistry. And I did that. And I also realized, you know, I never stood in line at record labels to get a record deal. Like, I built what I built, and I made the art that I made, and I didn't wait for people to give me a job.
Yeah.
And I was like, why am I doing that with acting? So I wrote a screenplay, and I'm going to take more of a approach like I've taken with music independently going forward. Not that I won't do auditions or bigger movies or stuff when the opportunities arise, but I think I need to really, you know, give myself the juice like I did with music in the way that make stuff that I want to make and get it made. It's a little more difficult to do than music because music is cheaper to make, but you know, I think I'm going to kind of dig into that area next is kind of the thing I do next, where I really start writing interesting stuff for myself to play and making the movies myself.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the future. That's kind of the long game for me in that area.
Yeah. That's dope, man. Hey, maybe you and Tom, you know, I know he's been doing some short films and stuff lately. Maybe, you know, Real Wolf and Slaine might work on something, you know.
You never know.
You never know. That's dope, man. I'm really glad to hear that, though, man. That's cool, and I like seeing you expanding in the other avenue as well, too. I really like the new album, One Day. It'll be out November 22nd, which is tomorrow. So by the time this interview airs, the album will be out, so you can go get the album
is out now.
Yes. One Day. And just let the people know before we go, you know, all the socials, everything, how to find you online.
Google is your friend. Slaine, S-L-A-I-N-E. Slaine's World on Instagram, Slaine.official on Facebook, and SlaineOfficial.com is my website.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, you killed the show tonight, man.
Thanks, bro.
Is this the last show on the tour? Or
No,
you got
two more. We got three.
Brantford.
Three including tonight.
Okay.
We got Brantford and Waterloo after.
Brantford's my
Toronto.
hometown, so, you know, shout outs to Bell City as well, too, man.
That's
But yeah,
what's up,
man, congrats on all the, you know, on the sobriety, all the recent success, the new album, everything, you know, and
Yes, sir.
keep
Thanks for having
evolving.
me.
Thank you very much, my man. Breaking Records Radio.